everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Top 10. I am John Rocha.
And I am Matt Knost, and for some reason, my camera will not adjust its white balance, so I am an apparition here. Jesus Christ. Well, listen, there it is. No idea why it was doing that, but okay.
That's unsettling. That is unsettling.
Yeah, a little bit. Welcome into the Top 10. This is a weekly show that we do. It's a movie-based discussion. We base it this week. It's on a Boss Hog suggestion.
Yes.
And looking forward to it. Dude, how are you holding up with the news that the FDA is going to ban Juul cigarettes? Because I know most people don't know this, but the outlaw vapes, he's big in the vape.
Let me tell you something, Pally. There's nothing when you're doing as many shows as I do. You have the precious time to yourself, and when you light one of those, I don't even know if you light one of those. Whenever you strike up one of those vapes, it makes all the difference in the world. Let me tell you. So to have that taken away from me, I don't know where I'm going to find release. I might actually have to start working out again, Matt. It's been.
What's your
years.
Flavor? Do you go with the flavors, or you just try and go with like some sort of natural tobacco?
Cherry lime.
Cherry lime.
Yeah. Nice distinct flavor there. It stings the nostrils, so to speak.
I don't know why the FDA banned it. I just saw the headline and I was like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. What a dumb thing to ban. Like they're like, oh, it's affecting the kids or whatever. But like, how do they have indisputable proof of that, but not of other stuff affecting children or other stuff? I don't want to get too political, but other stuff affecting our world. But somehow these cigarettes are the issue. So
the FDA is its own governing body, so it's a different subset of the government, and they have certain autonomies.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, they've already been looking at these things for a while.
I guess they've done independent research. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sure. Once again, I have not read I just saw that headline and I was like, oh, okay. That does not affect me in the slightest. I do know some people that vape, but
yeah,
I still know a bunch of smokers. So
yeah. Well, do you really? Oh, I don't know many smokers at all anymore.
Yeah, wow. I still know quite a few smokers.
Wow.
It's dwindled over the years. I used to know a lot more smokers.
Right.
And way back when I was one.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't had a cigarette in 20 years, 21 years.
Wow.
We're old, John. So
well, no, it's not that. It's more a matter of like you really show, having known you for as long as I've known you, you really do show a dedication. Once you're done with something, you're done. And not a lot of people can do that, especially for years on end, bro. So I think you deserve a lot of credit for that, to be honest.
Well, it's one of those things of it was really stupid that I started, and that one was an easy one.
Yeah, I'm watching a show right now. I like to watch those old shows. Not old. How can I say this? I like to watch shows from other countries, right? And we're watching this Welsh show called Hidden, and the lead character smokes all the time. She's the female detective, but she smokes all the time, and it's so quaint because you rarely see that in American shows. And I was thinking, as I was watching the show, I was like, that you would not see this in an American show, maybe on HBO Max or something, but like you rarely see. Like Bradley Cooper was smoking all through. What was the Nightmare Alley, I suppose, but you rarely see it nowadays, right?
The only TV show I can think of is Mad Men.
Right. Yeah, and that was set. That's more time
in the 60s when everybody was smoking.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they had to fight for the characters to be able to smoke.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just it's kind of one of those of look at the time era that it's set in. Everybody smoked.
Right. Good point.
But yeah, I think it's a much rarer thing on television. Have you watched The Offer? I just finished that.
No, I've got that on. How do you say? What do you say? I've got that on the list. That's going to be like a whole Saturday for me. That's going to be just sitting down and watching it. Can you binge it? Do you feel like it's one you can binge, or is it too heavy?
Sure. No, it's not heavy at all.
Okay.
You can distinctly tell it's from the vantage point of Al Ruddy, the producer.
Oh, the producer. Right.
But Matthew Good's Bob Evans.
Yeah.
Is absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
I could watch him do that an entire movie of that.
Really?
It's so fucking good. He was awesome in every single scene. It was amazing.
Wow.
And there's a bunch of other good ones. The guy they got for Brando does
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
actually look like Brando's. It's a dude from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, I saw the scene where he does the audition because they've got him on YouTube.
Yeah,
Clips on
that's where you're
YouTube.
like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was blown away because that dude's played for like a kind of a, like a lower status guy on ER. So to see him kind of become Brando and then become Vito Corleone through Brando was so fascinating. I thought he did an excellent job in that role from
Yeah,
what
I
I
was
saw.
staring at it going, God, where do I know this guy from? And then Catherine was like, oh, this is a dude from Grey's Anatomy. And I was like, oh, that's why I would never have been able to pull it.
Right, right.
Because I've
Listen,
watched a couple sparing episodes here and there with her,
yeah,
but
right.
I've never actually sat down to watch it. But yeah, I mean, some of the casting is flat out really good. But Matthew Good's Robert Evans is, I mean, just amazing.
I saw JT tweet about it, and he said that after he was finished watching the show, he immediately went and watched the documentary on Robert Evans, The Kid
But the
Stays in
kid
the
stays in the
Picture.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, which is such a great documentary. And that book, I still have the book somewhere on my shelves. It's a it's a fun read. The dude loves himself, but it's a fun read for sure.
Yeah, no, it was really good. But going into it, I don't know why my camera's done this again.
Oh no.
I took a sip of my drink and then it messed up the white balance
You
entirely.
moved. That was the problem. You
No
moved.
idea. Anyway, yeah, going into it, I was like, how in the world are you going to do this?
Right.
How are you going to be able to pull off this story? And it's really entertaining.
Yeah. Well, there's so many elements to it, right? And there's so many larger than life characters with Coppola, with Ruddy, with Bloodhorn over there at Universal, or Paramount rather, with Pacino coming in. I heard the Pacino is good too. That the guy plays Pacino really well. And then but you've got a great crew of actors with Teller and Juno Temple and oh God, what's the
What,
guy's name?
Fogelberg
Yeah, Dan Fogel. Yeah, and
or Fogel? Is that what it is?
yeah, I think it's Fogel. Yeah,
Okay,
I think you're
could be right.
thinking the singer from the 80s.
Could be.
Yes, Dan Fogelberg. Great stuff from Dan Fogelberg. What if we went on a tangent about the greatest hits of Dan Fogelberg? But yeah, there's so much there to enjoy. I don't know why I've resisted. I think it's my own rebellious nature sometimes. Like when something comes along and everyone's, Rocha, you gotta watch this. I go, I'm gonna watch it on my time. I don't like being told when to watch stuff.
Sure.
And so maybe that's why I've resisted the offer. Because I mean, I know I've read just about every fucking book there is, watched every documentary on The Godfather. So maybe there's a hesitation too for myself, like, will they get it right? But hearing so many people say such positive things about it, then I guess I will open the door to it.
I don't know that they're going for necessarily we're trying to make the most accurate movie.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's inaccurate. It's more so it's a fun journey.
Yeah.
And you're there for a good time.
Good.
Yeah, ultimately it's 10 episodes and it's nice. It's good escapism.
Right. Are they an hour long?
Yeah, they're all like 50 to 55 minutes long, something like that.
And how's Ribisi as Joe? Was it Joe Colombo?
Joe Colombo?
Yeah.
It's nothing against him. I just don't the voice that he takes on.
Yeah.
I've never seen that interpretation of Joe Colombo.
Okay. All right.
Could be. He may, I'm sure he did a ton of research and whatnot.
Yeah.
But every other representation I've ever seen of Joe Colombo, it didn't strike me as that. Although the guy they got for Joey Gallo is pretty great.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right.
Shit. I guess I'll have to watch it this week because I was planning on watching Umbrella Academy season 3 dropped yesterday, so I want to dive into that. But I do want to watch The Offer, man. So I guess I have to.
Yeah, but Umbrella Academy, I'm sure, is more channel specific.
Yeah, but this is more for my personal satisfaction.
Sure.
Maybe I'll do a review of it or something. But it could be fun to dive into, especially because like you're like the 4th person that's told me how good it is.
Yeah. It's just pure fun.
Yeah.
And I've got a ton of super serious or whatnot that I'm watching. So it was nice to have. And I probably burned through it too quickly because now I'm back to a lot of the super serious. Which Barry was my escape from all that, and
Oh,
Barry this season has gotten really dark.
dude, this Barry season is the fucking best. It's my favorite season of. It's my favorite season of the three seasons because of the darkness of it all, but also getting Sally. Is that her name? Sally had to go
Mhm.
like to the dark place, man. I mean, her confronting, and we don't give away too much, but her confronting her former assistant in the elevator. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, man, that was crazy. And then what it leads to in his apartment.
See,
Oh,
I haven't gotten that far yet.
oh, you haven't? Oh, fuck me. I'm sorry.
I've
I thought
gotten to
you
the confrontation.
okay, so you saw that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. Whew.
And then we started watching The Offer. So kind
Mm,
of barreled through The Offer.
gotcha. Have you watched Hacks? Is that your thing?
I was gonna watch it. Catherine watched like all of season 1, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
do you want to watch this?" And she's like, "I've already seen it," and then I just never started it. And
Okay.
then she started season 2 right when it came out. So
Yeah.
basically, I'm 2 seasons behind now if I want to start.
Fair enough.
But
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. It's good. It's only half an hour too. So if you wanted to catch up, it wouldn't take you that
Oh,
much.
okay. I assume
Yeah.
they'd be an hour for some reason.
No, no, no. They're only half an hour. And her and that's here's another one, Hannah Einbinder, who's oh God, the actress from SNL, Lorraine Newman. She's Lorraine
Oh,
Newman's daughter. And I had no idea who she was at all until I watched Hacks. And then I was like, oh my God, she's great. So her and Gene Smart have just fantastic chemistry. And then have you started anything new? What other dark stuff are you watching? Is there anything dark stuff you're watching
um,
that you can talk about?
I mean, dipped back into Evil, that CBS show. It's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gonna start that Jeff Bridges show sometime
Oh, yeah,
soon.
dude. Saw the first 2 episodes. It's fucking excellent.
Yeah, just been finishing off
Yeah.
The Offer
Right. Right.
as of late. I'm trying to think. Like we finished off a few things. Whatever. We're getting ready to start. Trying to
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Becoming Elizabeth. Saw the first episode of that. That was good.
What is that? Becoming Elizabeth.
About English
Oh.
monarchy.
Oh. Is it a
So
documentary or
no. It's a period TV show
oh, interesting. Okay.
about the king has died and Elizabeth and her 2 siblings.
Right.
And her brother becomes king.
Right.
So then the first episode was basically her trying to figure out what's going to happen to her. Is she going to live a life in peril, et cetera, et cetera, et
Oh.
cetera.
So this is like Elizabeth the First? Is this the
Yeah, I believe
queen?
so.
Okay, okay,
Catherine knows the English monarchy much better than I do.
okay.
So I'm asking questions while we're doing it. I was like, okay, so what is the relationship over here? And she's like, well, this, and this, because she just loves that stuff.
Yeah. Do you ever get the eye roll?
No, I never get the
Okay.
idol. I try not to ask too many questions to throw off because I can always just pick up my phone and Google that as
Oh,
well.
true. You could always do that. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Very good
But I
point.
don't want to miss it if I am engaged. And it was good.
All right. All right. Yeah, I don't know. What we were just we were seeing yeah, the old man, we both watched that one and liked it. But I don't I can't remember what else we're watching. We're trying to bear. We just finished off something that we ripped through. Oh, the documentary on the Mormon, the FLDS people that's on Netflix, the Pray, Sweet, and Obey or something, Be Sweet and Obey. It is fucking chilling documentary about that dude who abused all those underage girls, and he's still somewhat in charge of the fucking organization, even though he's in jail. It's insane, man. It's such a great documentary. Um, Man, I can't remember what else we told her because she gets mad at me. Oh, Peaky Blinders. We finished off season 6 of Peaky Blinders in like 2 days. She got really fucking mad at me because I was like, I want to finish this. And she likes to take her time, like 2 episodes a night. I'm like a drug addict, man. I'm like, I gotta finish. So
Yeah, I bailed on Peaky a while ago.
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Too fantastical for you.
I ended up only really liking a couple of the characters.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
And then
Fair enough.
a lot of the extended family, I'm like, you can get rid of them. I was sad to see his sister go.
Right.
But it's unfortunate real life.
No, it was his aunt. His aunt.
Or his aunt, yeah.
Yeah.
More like a sister, let's be honest.
Sure. Age-wise. Yeah. She was only 52, man. Cancer. Fuck.
Yeah.
Woof. It's a tough situation.
Did you see the Big Con
No, no.
documentary?
I told her we're watching that. That's
It's
on the list. Is
That's
it good?
interesting. It's
Okay,
fun.
cool.
It's like it's not dark or anything.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, we saw the trailer and I was like, oh, we got to watch this one. We got to watch this one.
yeah, I think it's like 3-4 episodes and it's
Right.
done.
On Peacock. I think it's on Peacock. Yeah.
That sounds right.
And then, yeah, did you watch the Netflix one about the pilot in the South, the missing pilot? He was essentially kind of the American-made pilot that Tom Cruise played.
No.
Fucking intense little thing, man. Craziness. A lot of twists and turns. It was like 3 episodes. So, but it was pretty cool, based on true story too. So it's like, well, I like it. What else is going on, man? You preparing for the draft tonight? Your Bulls? Any thoughts here? Any thoughts?
No. I don't watch college or any of the rest because I don't know who. Obviously, I know who the top 3-4 guys are supposed to be. But I don't have an opinion about them because I've never watched them. I've seen Paolo play 2 games.
Yeah.
I've seen some highlight, like I watched a little bit here or there. Chet. I don't know anything about Jabari or Ivy. Or anybody else. So I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
Other than I am intrigued by Chet because there hasn't been a white All NBA player since Larry Bird that I can think of.
Wow.
A white American.
Yeah. Right.
So
yeah.
He's going to go either 2 or 3. It looks like Jabari Smith is going to go number 1 to Orlando. 2 is OKC, and they're going to take Chet. 3 is going to be Paolo.
Yeah.
That's the last projection I saw.
Fair enough.
But
Doncic is not. I keep forgetting Luka's not American. I mean, as if the name couldn't give it away.
Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Jokic.
Yeah.
None of them are American. So the last white American,
Hedo Turkoglu.
Hedo Peja
Stojakovic, man. I used to love saying that name. Stojakovic, downtown.
His son is like 17 and he's got a shot at making the league.
Get out of here. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I guess he can he can shoot.
Good God.
I haven't seen anything. I just heard that from a friend. We were talking about it the other day and he's like, oh, his son. And he started going off about it. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Did not know that. All right.
I did not know that. Shout out to Drew Enns. Shout out to James Petty and Sam Fernando, who's in here. Sam coming after me saying, are we going to address John's slander against Michael J. Fox? LOL. Last episode, he said Fox was terrible at playing the guitar. Dude can definitely shred.
He can play.
His name is Michael J. Fox. Do I really believe he can shred, or he used to be able to shred? I don't know. Can he shred now with his Parkinson's? I don't know how that works.
Shreds even more. You never know where those fingers are going to be.
I don't know. That's your job. I'm not getting involved.
That's fine. I think he'd be perfectly fine with that joke. And if he's not, Mike, you can find me on social at Matt Knows. Let me know. Let me know.
Well, he just got nominated, or he just got they just announced that he's going to get an honorary Oscar. Michael J. Fox, the Herschel Award, the humanitarian award for all he's done for Parkinson's and whatever, and what have you. Sorry.
That's good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he never really got Oscar caliber roles.
Yeah.
So it's a nice way to honor a guy that's been in the business for 4 decades.
Yeah. And I mean, look, there are people, I mean, obviously Back to the Future is a massive, massive franchise still in a lot of people's minds, and new generations discover that franchise all the time. So, and yeah. And somebody corrected you on the blues guitars, Robert Johnson.
It was Robert Johnson. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I can't believe I just wrote down Muddy Waters. I was like, of course that's right. Yeah, but it was Mr. Tully, something like that on Twitter.
I think so. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was 100% Robert Johnson.
Yeah. So there you go. Making the deal. But all right, today we've been jabbing already 20 minutes. So let's jump into the show, man. Today we're talking about the top 10 monologues in movies. Who suggested this one, Matt? Do we have it?
Well, the man that you owe an apology to, Sam Fernando.
Oh, it was Sam. No wonder he's joining us live. Oh, all right, Sam. All right.
He's the one, that sent it in. So we've got his list to read at the end, and we obviously have ours to go through as well. But it's a great selection, so I'm looking forward to what you come up with. And I left 1 or 2 big ones off my list, assuming they'd be on your list, so we could pepper around, maybe have more of a discussion.
It's a little you like to play that game. You like to be crafty like that. Okay. All right.
Well, why not? Otherwise, we're just going to discuss like 6, possibly 7 of the same movies.
Well, that's the authentic way to do it, I would think. No? All right.
True, but it's not like these
Yeah,
others are undeserving of the discussion.
that's a very good point. That's a very good
So
point. All right.
might as well have a wider ranging one, in my
Sure.
opinion. I
Sure.
don't know. But yeah, so Sam sent us a topic. We went our personal ways, created individual lists. Show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade 1 apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the 2 of us.
Kaboom.
Um,
Go ahead.
So
what do you got at 10?
oodles to choose from, but at 10, I'm going to go with Bricktop from Snatch.
Oh, good. Monologue.
With the nemesis into the pigs eating
Yeah.
a 200-pound man. You need 16 pigs. You need to starve them for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then they can get through 2 pounds of flesh a minute. Hence the expression greedy as a pig. And just the look on their faces where it's like there's 3 dudes there. One knows who he is, and the other 2 are like, who the fuck are you? And he just commands the room by unrelentingly just talking.
Yeah.
In a slow, methodical pace. And then you can just feel his over-the-top presence. I wish he had gotten longer and more monologues in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's just a fascinating guy. I realize within the movie that Guy Ritchie had structured, you have to bounce around because there's just so many characters and storylines that are intersecting that it makes it a little bit difficult to do that.
Yeah.
But boy, I would have taken a nice big longer chunk of Bricktop. There's
he's much better than the antagonist in the first movie. And he is in the first movie as a bartender, Bricktop, the actor who plays Bricktop. And he's much better as an antagonist in the second movie, right? Because in the first movie, that guy, Harry, yeah, he's scary, but it's more the governor who looks like, that guy could tear you apart physically, piece by piece. But with Bricktop, he's the one who's essentially doing both, verbally the muscle and overtly the muscle and being in charge of that whole crew. So yeah, that's a great choice, man. I love that monologue. I should have thought of that monologue. It's so good.
And like he keeps his eyes wide open the whole time, and when he talks, he shows full teeth to like accentuate.
Yeah.
In lesser actors' hands, it'd be overacting. He'd be chewing scenery with all this. And for some reason, it just fits the character that he's molded for Bricktop. He's actually, drinking or smoking or whatever the affectations that he created for the character.
When he peeks in to the door and he's like, just looking around.
Yeah.
It's so weird, man. It's so good. Do you know what nemesis means? Oh, such a good. That's on the soundtrack too. If you guys ever buy the soundtrack, so I used to play little snippets from the soundtracks when I was driving around because I love that.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. This list was fucking difficult, and I think, Matt, it's the toughest list we've done in the show on my end for years. I mean, years. I have not struggled to cut this down to 10 and battled internally with myself with my choices. And I just wanted to get that out right now before we get too deep in the list. Honestly, so Sam, it was a great suggestion. This is the most challenging list I put together in years for this show. And I'm still not happy with my list.
Me either.
I still don't know if it's the right top 10.
I know I'm forgetting things.
Yeah.
Because I went through initially when we got it from Sam, and I immediately thought of 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And then those made it on the list. And then after that, I spent a couple days of just going through my head and then I started searching actors and just going through their IMDb filmography, going, this person always commands. And just looking at the movie and trying to visualize, was there ever just them giving any kind of monologue?
Yeah.
And even going that route, I know I screwed up. I know there's somebody I'm missing.
Right. Yeah.
And some amazing. So hopefully you have it, and we've got.
We'll see.
A wide array. Hence, I included Snatch for that. Just like I could put other things that technically might have a more dramatic effect or something, but just to mix it up a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
At 9, I have something you definitely don't have,
Okay, go ahead.
which is Lincoln.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Even though
I could watch Day Lewis do Lincoln all day long.
it's a great monologue.
There's like 4 of them in there,
Yeah.
depending on whichever one. The easiest one I think to gravitate towards is towards the end of the movie when he's telling his cabinet, I need
Mm,
these 2 votes now.
yeah.
Like I am I have immense power as the president of the United States, and I know that slavery is what is the ill of this country, and we can fix this for
Yeah.
for all time. We're out on the world stage right now, and I just need 2 votes, and you need to go procure me those votes. But he gives a nice speech there. There's another one where they're shelling the fort,
Yeah.
and he gets up to tell a story of I can't remember which general it is, but or which former officer, but
Mhm,
he's
mhm.
over in England, and they put a picture of George Washington above the commode, and the officer, whoever the statesman was, goes to the bathroom of the Englishman, comes back and sits down, and the English aristocracy are like like giggling to themselves at the fact that George Washington's picture was above the commode, and he's like,
Yeah.
well, of course it is. Nothing makes an Englishman shit faster. There's that one. There's Euclid's principle when he's talking to a young Adam Driver.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh wow, that's right. Adam's in that. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, they just turn around. He's like, oh, you're an engineer. And I think he's talking to the other guy, not maybe it is to Adam Driver.
Yeah.
But that's where the truths are self-evident comes from Euclid's
Yeah.
theorem. There's several in that movie. But once again, I could watch Day-Lewis, much like Matthew Good.
Yeah.
I could watch Day-Lewis do Lincoln. I wish he'd do like a Val Kilmer does Mark Twain.
Just tour the country as Lincoln.
I would watch the living shit out of that.
Why not? I mean, what the fuck else is he doing? It's not like
He's
he
cobbling
takes a
shoes
lot
or
of
something.
time between films, though, Matt. So why not just kind of walk around?
Isn't he retired officially at this point?
They all say that shit. They're retired.
Yeah. Just like next film is Tarantino's last. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't believe you in the slightest.
The only person I've ever seen say they're retired and stay retired is Gene Hackman. He has never come back to do anything, not even a voiceover. So him, I believe, but most everyone else, I do not believe when they say they're retired. They're just waiting for the right project. Maybe they burnt out, and just need some time off.
It's understandable. It's somebody at that kind of level.
Yeah,
where,
of course.
Yeah, you're constantly chasing and constantly worrying about this person getting that. The insecurities that Sally shows in Barry.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Like when Barry gets that movie role straight to director where he's got to go in an audition, and her saying, I'm really happy for you, but just upset that he got to jump so many different steps in the process.
Yeah.
And then Henry Winkler's look too of like utter shock and almost disgust of, I can't believe you, one of the least talented people in my class, has gotten this.
But that's what's so great about the show is the randomness of it all, because that's how Hollywood actually is. It's totally fucking random. You just have no idea, and you got to just roll with it. Someone who looks like they're never going to do anything, all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, and then then vice versa too, because you may see it one way and they may see you another way, and you just never know. So, and I think the show tackles that so well, which just there are times when I'm watching Barry and I got to stop it because I can't. It's like PTSD. I've said it's PTSD, man. I can't watch it. It's, it's like going back to something I hated, experience I hated rather.
Have you ever heard the Chris Pratt story of how he got his first gig, his first acting gig?
No, tell me.
So he was a waiter in Maui, in fucking Hawaii, and there was a director that happened to be eating at his restaurant.
Jesus.
He was waiting on him and was like, you should audition for my movie.
Yeah.
And ended up auditioning and got the part, and then they flew him to LA because he was like, I was going to turn down the part because he didn't have the money to fly to LA, and they're like, we'll fly you to LA. It's fine. And he flew to LA and then started acting. But that's the randomness of right place, right time, pure happenstance of, hey, this guy's really engaging. You ever thought about doing this?
Yeah. Wow. That was Hemsworth. Is that what you're saying? Hemsworth?
No, Chris Pratt.
Oh, Pratt. I thought Pratt. Oh, so that's how they booked him in. Really?
Whatever his first movie was, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I always
I
thought
believe
it
it.
was Zero Dark 30, but I'm sure you're right. It was like something
No,
else
because he did like
before
a
Parks and Rec.
CW show. I remembered him
Yeah,
before he did Parks and Rec.
you're right, man. I didn't
Because
know
they
him until Parks and Rec. So yeah,
Me either. Didn't have the slightest clue, and then you start seeing those.
yeah,
Oh, so and so was on this before, who
right.
you'd never seen, and then you like, oh, he was on like a CW esque show. I don't have the slightest clue what it was.
Oh, maybe it was The Extreme Team from 2003.
What his
That's
first movie?
yeah, maybe a secret black ops rescue team made up of Gen X extreme sport athletes go to New Zealand to save a former member that's
Sounds
been
about right. The
kidnapped.
19-year-old waiter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Eric Mabius is in this. Yeah, he's like fourth billing, dude, with Bai-Ling. Oof, Bai-Ling. Yikes. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Hemsworth was going to leave. He was done. Can you believe that? There was a time where Hemsworth was sleeping on people's couches because he couldn't get anything. And he was going to head back to Australia and got Thor. Thor was the thing that pulled him out of obscurity, man. And I was watching or listening to the podcast that Arnett and
Mm-hmm.
Bateman do with what's his face from Will and Grace, Jack something.
Sean
Sean
something or
Hayes,
other.
sorry,
Sean
Sean
Hayes.
Hayes. Yeah. And they had Cooper on there. And Cooper was talking about it, and he gave so much credit to Arnett, who changed his life. He said, I couldn't handle the Hollywood thing. I'm so depressed. He said, I couldn't get a date. I couldn't buy a date. Bradley Cooper, I couldn't buy a date. And he said, I was just so just overrun and overwhelmed by the Hollywood system. And I started doing Coke and I started being this asshole. And it was Will Arnett who came to me one morning after a night of me doing it. And he said to me, like, how do you think it went last night hanging out at the party? He's like, I had a great time. It was a great time. He's like, really? How do you think you were? He's like, oh, I thought it was fun. Why? He's like, because everyone thought you were an asshole. And here's the situation. And he explained all this shit to him. And Bradley said that's how he got off coke and kind of turned his life around. That he'd been hiding from this shit,
Mm-hmm.
and he decided, okay, I'm going to stop doing it and really focus on trying to create either fail or succeed doing it, giving it my all. And it's fascinating stuff. And then he talked about how he ran into a famous director who said it was ridiculous that he has 7 Oscar noms total, while this other person has only 3.
Oh yeah, because that's how it works.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Merit in Hollywood.
Exactly. It's a meritocracy. I had heard that about Hollywood. It is and it isn't.
You're right. Exactly. Depends on the situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he said there was some female superhero person who came up to him and said something about scoffing the fact that he got a nomination, called it a nom. So I was like, in my mind, who could that fucking be? Is that Brie Larson? Because I've heard some stories about her razor sharp tongue. Or is it Natalie Portman? Or who could it be? I wonder. So just in my head.
Yeah,
hilarious.
I'd be surprised if it was the former.
Mm.
Maybe not as much on the latter.
Okay, fair enough.
Just on the outside looking in.
Yeah, all right.
No idea. Never met either of them. Haven't heard any stories. Don't know anything about them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, truth be told, who knows?
It just shockingly was Evangeline Lilly. So.
Dude, I would be very shocked if it was Evangeline Lilly.
Shocked.
Although she's been very vocal lately about a number of things, so maybe not so shocked. But she seemed to be a kind of a person who hated the Hollywood system. So I'd be real surprised if she'd be so judgmental of people.
You ever seen the clip of her on like a 1-900?
Oh yeah, the commercial she did way back.
Yeah. I remember when that got big, right when she had lost, and that started circulating online. And I was like, oh shit, she did one of those. Or it's nothing scandalous. It's like her on a couch with a fireplace in the background, and be like, do you just want to talk? And just give us a call. We love to talk. Type of nonsense. Kids, before there was internet porn.
Yes, you had to call.
You could call I've never done it. I don't understand the appeal.
Neither do I. This is weird.
But to each their own.
Well, I mean, but you probably didn't lack for attention from women, Matt. I'm sure you.
Please.
I'm not saying you weren't. I'm not saying you were a Lothario. Maybe you were. I don't know. But it wasn't like you couldn't get a date. I think those are for people who cannot get a date at all.
A long time in my life where I was fat and alcoholic. You think I was pulling down ladies at that point?
I don't know. Fat guys can be quite resourceful sometimes. I don't know.
They can be. More often than not, no.
But you were skinny fat. You weren't.
No. I was fat.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was
Fair enough.
the most I ever technically okay. The heaviest I allowed myself to ever get on a scale.
Yeah.
Put it that way, because I'm pretty sure I was heavier and I just couldn't face getting on a scale to see it.
Yeah.
I was either 230 or 235.
What?
And I'm
Wow.
since you've known me, the skinniest I've been is about 165. I'm probably about 175 right now.
That's crazy to me, man. The 235 is like, that was like probably my weight when we first met. 230,
Okay.
235 probably. Wow. That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
Who
I
got
know
fatter,
that
you
was
or
heavier.
Ellis? Who was fatter, you or Ellis?
Oh, I was fatter than Ellis.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
That's incredible. See,
but he's in better shape now. So,
oh yeah, from his videos, Mr. Box Steps.
oh, look, he is. I know he's in better shape now. I've seen myself without my shirt on lately, and it's definitely one of those of. It's been like in the last 3 or 4 months, I put on a bunch of weight out of nowhere. And out of nowhere, I ate dessert every night for like 6 weeks straight. And I'm not kidding. And then suddenly I was like, man, I'm putting on weight. And be like, you think it's all the fucking dessert, asshole? Probably.
Maybe.
But yeah, eating cake and fucking ice cream and dates and
dates.
Yeah, make them here at the house. Delicious.
Oh my God.
Problem is like every date is 20 grams of sugar and I'll have 5.
Oof.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're not filling. So you could eat more. I could eat 10.
Yeah.
But you got to stop yourself. You could lie to yourself and be like, well, they're all natural sugars. It's not like the refined, terrible stuff. And be like, it's still a lot of sugar. It's still a shitload of sugar.
It's refined. Anyway, where are we at right now? Number 9?
My number 8.
8. Okay, good. What's your 8?
It's probably a punt.
Okay.
A Few Good Men.
No, not even on my list. That's what I'm telling you. This is the most difficult list I've ever put together. Go ahead.
I thought about keeping it off, assuming you would have it.
Because
I was like, this seems like a one everyone would have.
He's overdoing it in the scene, in my opinion. I've seen better monologues from Nicholson, but sorry, go ahead.
Actually, I think Tom Cruise might be overdoing it a little too much.
That's not incorrect either. Yeah. Did you want the code?
Yeah, exactly. And the Nicholson, like his frustration of, you have no idea what my job is. And I believe the soldier's name was Santiago.
Santiago, yeah.
And if one soldier has to die, as unfortunate as that is, it maintains the security of you, me, and everyone else we know by his one death, because it keeps order in line.
Right.
And it keeps, just the chain of command and what is expected of you in the military if you're going to be defending your fellow man. So his frustration boiling over in that moment, yelling at his eyes at this dilettante that, yes, you may wear a uniform, but we're not cut from the same cloth.
Right.
You've never had to do the things that me or my men have had to do, so you can just shut up. You went through boot camp. That's where it ended. It's kind of like Tom Cruise in Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's more media personality who technically went through boot camp, but he's just like, hey, I smile, so when Gleason drafts him into, you're going to be on the front lines, and he's like, hey, realizing he's not the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I buy into Colonel Jessup, I believe is the character's name.
Yep.
Couldn't tell you Tom Cruise's character's name, though, for the life of me. I can remember Jessup. I can remember Santiago.
Something with a P, but I can't remember.
Couldn't tell you. Those are the only two that I can remember off the top of my head.
Shit, now you're gonna make me. I'm gonna look it up because I got.
Hey, I'm Demi Moore, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Bacon. Couldn't tell you any of their names. The other soldier with Santiago, I might be able to pull.
Well, Santiago's dead.
Santiago, yeah.
Yeah.
But there was the black
guy and the white guy. Yeah.
The black guy and the white guy.
Yeah. The white guy is from Gladiator, the boxing film.
Yeah. And then the black guy, I don't know I can place him in anything else.
No, he didn't do much after that. I remember auditioning with him for a commercial years ago. He came in and I was like, what the fuck? And I looked at him and I said, you know, and he was like, yeah, man, we all got to fucking struggle. We all got to fight. I was like, oh, man, well, I loved you in A Few Good Men, man. I'm honored to be doing this scene with you. He was like, yeah. He was a really nice guy. Daniel Caffey, that's his name. Tom Cruise's character, Daniel Caffey.
Doesn't even ring a bell. I just remember Jessup and Santiago.
It's all bells and whistles. It's all bells and whistles.
It's Tom Cruise in an,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that I buy him. I buy him as Tom Cruise in that role.
I remember J.T. Walsh. You know, him. Remember J.T. Walsh? Yeah. He's a great character actor. I love the character actors. Because J.T. Walsh and Emmett Walsh, two great character actors with the same last name. No relation, but with the same last name. Always showing up and stuff. It was great. Okay. So then mine, should we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So then my number 10 is the opening of Patton.
I thought about it. It's on my side list. Go for it.
I love this. I mean, as a military guy, I mean, how can I not love this? Plus, I love George C. Scott. Plus, I want to make sure people understand it's a very anti-war film. People think it's a film that glorifies war. It's quite the opposite. And the monologue is one of the elements of the anti-war because he's talking about the things you got to do. But as he goes further and further into it, he's essentially telling you have to be a bloodthirsty killer in order to win a war. So it's pretty unsettling, the things that you hear Patton saying. And in the end, of course, Patton shoots himself in the foot constantly with self-destructive, stupid, careless shit, and then cries about it when he finally gets called out on it, when he loses everything in terms of his status and his position, and is basically sent back to live out the rest of his time in the military as kind of a peacetime guy, which drives him insane. But it was his own fault. But you hear the beginning, this grandiose monologue. And by the way, this is Coppola wrote this monologue. Which is great, and him just talking about all the things you got to do, and and the love he has for the soldiers, all that comes through really powerfully. But the backdrop of the American flag and everything like that. When you put your hand in a pile of goo, these be your best friend. You'll know what to do. That kind of thing, and just a really great opening monologue that establishes the character, establishes the mood of the film, and establishes what you're going to be seeing before you get into the movie. So I love that.
Yeah, to see from that to set up Pat, and then you see the progression of the character. I love it when he's in the tent dealing with hurt soldiers, and he just can't even fathom what, the idea of PTSD, which was rebranded as something else or had a former name.
Yeah.
It was originally shell shock, and then it became something else.
Yeah.
And then now we know it as PTSD.
Right.
But not understanding, basically you're a wuss.
Yeah.
You're not out there with your fellow men on the front lines. Like, what is it? You can't do it type of situation.
Right.
And the frustration, not understanding that shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
And then him butting heads with Eisenhower and pretty much everybody else.
Yeah. It's very similar to Norman Dale in Hoosiers, right? When he's talking to Barbara Hershey, and he says, when I think about it, sometimes I feel I can stop my fist from hitting that kid. That's how Patton feels for the rest of the movie after he slaps that kid. Like, he knows that's a line that he can't come back from. At the time, I think nowadays you could totally come back from that, but back then you couldn't. And he just kind of references it in certain moments, and he realizes, that was he let that arrogance or that emotion about war overcome him in that moment rather than being understanding. And this is a guy, by all accounts, who loved his soldiers who served under him. And so it makes it even more, just like Norman Dale says, I loved everybody who ever played for me. He was the best guy that ever played for me, but I punched him, So
yeah,
it's that thing. You can get caught up in it, the hubris. All right, so my number 9, which I was really surprised that it's this far down on the list, but Christopher Walken in Pulp Fiction.
Technically a slight punt.
Okay, fair enough. Then my number 8 is Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Dude, punt. What are we doing?
Okay, fair. Love it. Love that it's on your list.
What are we doing?
right.
7 is Walken and Pulp.
Okay, cool. Let's do
I
it.
thought about doing the 2 kind of bookended Ezekiels.
Oh yeah, with Samuel L.
Yeah, where the first one is
Yeah.
he is the wrath of God.
Yeah.
And the second one is him now after the previous 24 hours that he's gone through just to get this fucking case filled with whatever the MacGuffin is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And him now dissecting that phrase, just like I thought it was cool before, but now I have a completely different vantage point on it. And the juxtaposition of those 2 things. But within each, Walken's is more of a monologue.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with Walken's.
Agreed.
I mean, it just stops right in the middle. All of a sudden, just Chris Walken is only in this movie for this one scene, talking about this uncomfortable hunk of metal that he hit up his ass for a couple of years because Butch's dad, he made a promise. And Butch's dad held it up his ass for how many years? It's like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Something like that. Oh, my God. Hiding at that point, I think you just get rid of the watch and you go and you keep the promise to go and see the kid.
Yeah. Maybe in some fucked up way, it's like a way of still being connected to America in a way to keep you. That pain is like a way of keeping you psychologically feeling like you're not lost in being a POW. You've still got a mission to accomplish, so that keeps you living throughout your days.
Good, yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
That's a legitimate, rationale. I hadn't thought about that, but it keeps you grounded and focused on what the job is by this constant reminder.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine how many polyps and calluses he's got in his colon?
I don't want to imagine that. Yeah.
Just brutal. I mean, he goes in for a colonoscopy and is like, "Back, it looks like a catcher's mitt in there." Jesus, it's so thick. Hey, can you even feel my finger? So are there any nerve endings left in here? I mean, not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either.
There's so many scratches. You let a wildcat in there. There's so many scratches on the walls.
Oh, I've seen this before. This is that gerbil thing. I thought this was only in certain communities. Oh my God.
What did they do to you over there?
I've heard of Chinese water torture, but what is this?
Oh my. Oh wow. Yeah, it's such a good monologue, such a well-written monologue. And it's one of those monologues, as soon as you see it, when it's over, you're like, that's legendary. That is always going to be something people reference because it's so well delivered by Walken. And he does, the changing in the timbre of his voice and the stressing of certain words and everything. It's just so well delivered in the build within it. As he's getting more and more agitated by the end of it about it.
He's nice and calm until he has the memory of his captors.
Yes.
And he turns a racist. The tempo of his voice changes, the timbre, the tone, all of it.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if I was going to let these you get this. And you're like, okay. It's such a great little twist on it because you believe that his character believes like, no, they will not.
Yeah.
I will die before they touch this.
It's birthright.
Yeah.
It's so good. All right. What's your 6?
My number 6 is the Joker.
Oh,
when he's sitting down with Murray.
Murray? Yeah. I almost put that on, but Murray's always interjecting, so I didn't quite 100% consider a monologue, but it's a great choice. I loved it, man.
I know what you mean. I figured De Niro comes in with like basically 3 to 5 word questions a couple times. And the rest of it is Joker just talking about the indignity that he lives through and most of us do. And, would you even step over me if I were lying in the gutter?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. You haven't before. Why would you start now? No one, as cliched it is, nobody cared who I was until I put the mask on.
Right.
It really fits the tone of who this Joker is.
Yeah.
But him coming to embody the frustrations of an entire group or class of people so succinctly that when he walks out, like the riot that's going on but the eruption of individuals after his appearance, that he has unfortunately tapped into the zeitgeist in a way that most people wouldn't have assumed existed.
Yeah.
But his delivery of that, and slowly but surely just boiling over, and eventually just can't take it anymore and blows his head off.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, just kind of when he stands up and he does a little jig, like he's Ashley Simpson and forgot the words to a song on SNL. It's just like, yeah, it just had. It was exceedingly powerful.
Yeah.
Just when you think you've seen it all in a comic book movie, we get something that you've never seen and likely won't see again for a long time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Although, how long until they remake this? You know what I mean? Because it won an Oscar.
They're doing the sequel.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about they redo it entirely.
This? Oh, I don't know.
It won an Oscar.
It did. You don't know. You're right. It did. The Best Actor Oscar, sure, and the score as well. But I think you have to finish off whatever Todd Phillips wants to do with this, because, I mean, it's already shocking that there's a sequel that's been written. It's shocking that Lady Gaga is going to be in the sequel and it's going to be a musical. That's what they're saying now. So we got to see how farther out he's going to go with this character and with this story before we even consider there being a remake of this one. I think it's going to be a while. Maybe, I don't know, 34. We might be dead by the time we see a remake of this one, to be honest with you. Because I don't know how many more films Todd Phillips has with this character.
Yeah, I never anticipated it being the same creative group.
Yeah.
But given the fact that inevitably all superhero films will be rebooted.
Sure.
That you would reboot, maybe not do the exact same, but do a standalone Joker.
Oh, a standalone Joker movie
that you think could get Oscar buzz again. I think that's
Yeah.
inevitably coming. And way to flip me and the whole audience off. I appreciate that.
What? Oh, when I'm scratching my nose. Oh,
you
sorry.
Scratch your nose. Distinct. One finger. Oh, you think there's going to be a remake? What'd you think? All right.
Sorry about that. I used two fingers next time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It would be a while. I feel like it's going to be a while. And we'll see, because it's going to take forever to get this sequel done. Probably another 2-3 years, I would think. Yeah. I would imagine. So
sounds about right.
They just finished the script, according to that Instagram picture. All right, that was your 6?
Yep.
All right, so then my number 7 is, oh, by the way, I love that monologue too, because, you know, I was rewatching it for the show again, just thinking I might put it on. And the build within the monologue, the build within that scene is so well done by Joaquin. And when he gets to that kind of angry moment, like you said, like, you can see the logic. You may not agree with the logic, but you can understand and see the logic. Mm-hmm. And then him laying the trap for Murray right at the end, and he's laying the trap because Murray is scoffing at him. Murray's judging him. And that's the thing that kind of sends him over. He's like, you first of all, you have no idea what the fuck I've been through. Then you wanted to use me for jokes for your audience. And now that you can't do that, and I've turned it around on you, you're trying to reclaim the power here by turning the audience against me in a judgmental way. Fuck you. And when he turns and he goes, oh yeah, what am I? And he turns, you don't even know what it can be like or what it does to somebody. It turns them into a homicidal mentality, his last joke. And I love that there's no hesitation, man. Just wings that gun and fucking kills him. And that's that. And the two other people are like, you know, huddled and they're freaking out. And his little jig is great because it almost feels like he doesn't know what to do in that moment.
100%.
And then so he goes, okay. And then he adjusts himself and goes right up to the camera and just does something before they cut him off. But after he shoots Murray again, which is really interesting, and then drops the gun, which I think is a bit of an homage to Taxi Driver, but I'm not sure. And then walks over and does.
Quite possible. I mean, he was overt about what his references for this movie were.
Yes.
So
it's pretty badass. I love that monologue. All right, so my number 7 is Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. The whole end monologue when he's talking about, you know, Andy was right. Got to get busy living, get busy dying. After he gets let go, you know, gets the parole, and he does that whole monologue where we see him going and doing what Brooks did, you know, trying to live in that place, trying to ask for permission to pee, looking at the guns, looking at the watches, having all those questions with himself. then sneaking off and saying, I don't think they're going to miss an old con like me. And then gets in the bus and goes all the way down and gets the letter and then, heads over to see Andy. I think it's a fantastic monologue. And the way he ends, I guess I just miss my friend. It's just so moving, and it really encapsulates the affection that these two guys had for each other as friends, and in a really hopeless place like prison, and especially at that time. And there's so much here that I just thoroughly enjoy in Morgan Freeman's monologue, and you could even go all the way to where he is doing the monologue about the warden. I like to think that
Yeah, the last thing was
the
on
last
his
thing across
mind.
yeah. Other than that bullet was how Andy Dufresne ever got the best of him. They're so great. That old connective tissue, that end monologue is just fantastic. And so it just moves me on so many levels. And it, like these are our personal lists. So for me, I know that I will watch that monologue 100 times more than I'll watch another monologue that is technically great and has all the elements of it to be great, but it's not necessarily one that I'll rewatch over and over again. And this one is
Sure.
one for sure. Yeah. Okay. So then my 6 is the one from Good Will Hunting.
On the bench?
Yeah, on the bench.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where I'm like, I'm pretty sure he'll have that. So I'm going to just to have something different.
Yeah, I love that monologue.
It's a great one.
So good. I mean, this is Robin Williams. Man, I mean, the late great Robin Williams is kind of dropping some incredible work here and talking about, how you can talk all you want about, everything, but you haven't experienced it, right? And this really does apply even nowadays, even more so to the YouTube commenting culture or the internet commenting culture. If you actually haven't been out there, if you haven't actually experienced the things that other people have experienced, where the fuck do you get off judging people? Like, go and live life. If you've been sitting in a pampered existence where mom and pop are paying for everything, or you're living in your parents' basement, because you don't have the guts to get out there and get a job and fucking struggle and have, go through the things you're going through, where do you get off sitting there and judging other people? You've got to taste the world a little bit more, then maybe you've got some kind of leg to stand on in your opinions on certain situations and about certain people.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think that monologue carries even more weight and resonance now because, everybody thinks they're smarter than they actually are in certain situations. And certainly even someone as legitimately intelligent as Will is in the movie, he thinks just because he can conceive of it, he can understand it. But there's a visceral element or component you've got to experience in order to really fully understand something. And so I think that's what's so great about that monologue, and Robin calls him out and fucking puts him in his place and then just walks right off. Your move, Chief. I love it.
Yeah, you see one picture and you think you know me.
Yeah, right.
You think you can just tear in. You don't have the slightest clue, kid. And it could, you can still feel the heart and the attachment and connection he's trying to make.
Oh, yeah, of course.
To Will in that. And it could go the other way. I'm not saying from the actor's portrayal. I'm just saying if this was a real life situation, he could be bitter and disgruntled about the situation.
Right.
And instead uses it kind of as a teachable moment.
Yeah.
If you're going to judge, at least have an understanding of what you're trying to judge. But unfortunately, you can't because you're just a young kid.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon looks crazy young.
Yes, he does
in that scene.
Movie. Yes, he does.
It's like there are other ones where when he's with all the other people his age, looks fine. And then you see him next to Williams, and he's like, God, you are so young in this.
Yeah, because I love that scene with him and the dude in the bar. It's such a great scene.
Yeah, that's a great one.
All right. Well, there we go. That's our bottom 5s here. We're going to take a quick break, right, Matt?
That we are. We'll see you guys in just a second after this word from our sponsor. Okay. There we are. Now we're getting into our top 5s. Hey, so at 5, I've got JCVD, which I think is the third time it's made it on my list in the past 6 months.
Nice choice. I can't argue.
Great monologue.
Great monologue.
It's a great monologue.
Fuck me. I should have put that on my list.
Hands down the best acting he's ever done that I've seen, at least. There could be something out there that I've missed.
Great choice.
I didn't watch all of Jean-Claude Van Johnson. Is that what it was?
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
There could have been a great. I saw like the first 2 episodes. Maybe it got amazing. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Maybe.
It was fine. Those first 2, and I was like, I don't really foresee myself watching much more of this. But yeah, it's it's in the middle of a tense situation, and he is just levitated above, and you see the artifice of the set because they're the stage lights and whatnot. And he's not talking about what's happening in the movie. He's talking about himself, where he's at in his life, his failings, what he was trying to accomplish, and where he fell short, how he can potentially rectify that, what the audience's expectations of him were, what he was trying to deliver, how none of that made sense, and yet somehow it made sense. So it's an actor laying themselves bare. And then he drops back down from that, and we get right back into the movie.
And I think it's one take.
Yeah, it's definitely one take. It's
That's
straight
what makes
to
it even
camera.
more incredible, Matt.
But I mean, I think this is the 3rd list I've had it on in the past 6 months. So we've talked about
it. Fair enough. Then my number 5 is Sylvester Stallone in Rocky Balboa when he's talking to his kid.
Oh, my hand thing?
Yeah. You're not going to believe this. You should sit right here. This one was great. It was good. And then the whole speech that delivers, life ain't sunshine and rainbows. It'll knock you down and keep you down if you let it. But that's a life. Sorry, I guess some caught my throat. But you got to be able to take the hits and keep going. If you want what you want, take the hits and keep going. That's how winning is done. Not pointing fingers at other people saying you're not somewhere because of that person or that person. We all need to hear that lesson every once in a while. And it's such a great, great monologue. And he delivers it so well. Look, there are great moments in every Rocky film. Even Rocky 5, there are great moments where Stallone is really dialed in and having an interaction. And certainly in Rocky Balboa, this scene, the scene where he's talking about them trying to take away his right to fight, and the scene with Paulie with the beast inside or the beast underneath. All those are great scenes. But this monologue here is the one that I think it's the greatest monologue of the Rocky franchise, to be honest with you. It's so well done. And he's speaking to everybody, not just his son. And there's a real power in that, some great life lessons in that. And it's the guy who you remember from 1970, whatever, trying to win the title. And here he is as a dad trying to pass on some wisdom to his son, who he loved. We saw him fall in love with from Rocky 2 on, so it's just an incredible monologue with a lot of weight to it. And it's one I go back to all the time. And I have it saved on my iTunes to listen to every once in a while,
Wow.
So, yeah. Oh yeah. That one and and I couldn't put it on my list because it's such a shitty movie, but the Pacino speech in Any Given Sunday. Oh my God, I love that fucking speech.
Is it a shitty movie or just it's unbalanced?
It's a shit movie, my God. I can't tell you. But I mean, you may like it, but I think it's
got some great moments in it. Come on.
That speech is certainly one of the great moments. We claw with our fingernails. Anyway, so I love that speech. So what's your 4?
Yeah, I wish I had something to add, but I haven't seen it in so long. I remember the right here. And then where it's set up, of course, it's at nighttime on the street. You can tell they just douse the street in water, as they always do in nighttime shots.
It makes the lighting better. Yeah, man.
It does. It makes for a more dynamic shot. I totally get it, but but anyway, my 4 is the Quint speech in Jaws.
Oh, it's a slight punt.
Okay.
So my 4 is the Goodfellas intro.
Go for it. I didn't see it. Voiceover, I didn't count as monologue in my head.
Really?
You're an actor.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that still counts. I'm just like, I don't know. Monologue, you got to deliver that shit. Whereas voiceover, you just keep taking and taking and taking.
You keep taking and taking on the monologues as well, man. And not
you can, but like the JCVD, that's one take.
It is the GCV. That's a rare thing, though. Most monologues are multiple takes.
I don't know. So I was just like, well, that's voiceover. I didn't look up a definition.
Yeah.
I don't know if I am standing on solid ground here. Terra firma. I don't have the slightest clue.
Well, to me, they qualify, because voice acting
very well could.
There's no difference to me voice acting and on camera acting. You got to make people feel the life, and so I love this. It's again like Patton. It's the monologue that introduces you into the world and into this guy, and immediately sets up the film for you in his what he's going after, right? And it ends with that explosion.
Yeah.
But it's
All
great.
my life I wanted to be a gangster.
Exactly. Hey, ma.
Yeah,
All of
exactly.
that.
I'll go from rags to riches.
It's so well delivered. And the late great Ray Liotta just giving us some fantastic work there in that opening sequence, and it's great. And so, what more can I say? You guys know the monologue. It's such a fantastic monologue. I love it. So there you go. What's your 3?
Yeah, I mean, shit. There's that one.
Oh,
There's the closing one with the, I'm just an average schnook at that
yeah,
point. But when he stands up from the witness stand and starts
yeah.
delivering straight to, I thought about that one.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah. It's
Just
not as
talking
it's
about,
not as heavy as the opening, but I hear you.
well, the world building on the opening
Yeah.
is, as you said, it's perfect. It just sets you right up for, here's the idealized, version of what I wanted,
Right.
but it's juxtaposed against, having a semi-alive person in the trunk of your car that you eventually stab. Yeah, and you find out later it's a knife that you took from Pesci's mom's, table. It's pretty brutal.
Oh. Yeah, agreed. Super brutal. All right. So, like I said, what's your 3?
My 3 is Network with the corporation speech
Oh,
from
nice.
Beatty.
Oh, dude, I know you love that monologue. Great choice, man.
It's everybody goes to the other one. I'm mad as hell. I think the corporation, because the corporations that's honest.
I don't disagree with you, Matt. I think that's the better monologue. That's why I didn't put the other one on my list. I think that is the better monologue. I wish I'd remembered. I would have put it on my list too. That's great.
The one true religion is dollars, rubles, or Deutschmarks rather, just whatever, right through. There are no nations. There's just corporations. And you hear it succinctly broken down. You're like, it's very true. He's pissed off at him because the trade deal from the Arabs has gone through. And he's like, they took some of our money. That money is supposed to come back now. That is the way of the world. And he's just, it's disgusting and accurate.
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
Sadly accurate. Yes.
Yeah. It rings just as much truth today as it did when they first shot that 50 years ago.
Yeah.
At this point, almost 50, 45-ish.
Even more so today, I would say. Than
corporations are even larger, even more powerful.
Yeah. A bit of a, what do you call that? A foreshadowing of what we were going to see in our world. Yeah. All over the place, like in every country, right? There's no one who's immune to that speech at all if they've got TV stations owned by private people, private corporations, trying to push narratives. Absolutely.
But everything in their daily life is provided to them by a corporation of some kind or another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Like every single thing, everywhere you are in the world, you deal with corporations nonstop.
Right. 100% correct. 100% correct.
So
even now we're recording this on a corporate thing to put up on a corporate thing. So yeah.
To send out to people over corporate internet.
Yep. And we have to adhere to the corporate rules in order for you all to watch or listen to what we're putting up on a corporate internet. Yeah. Yeah. So that, because I was watching that because I watched a TikTok thing recently, and this, Texas was going, the Texas GOP got a little crazy the other day. It was like, oh, Biden's not legitimate. We're going to secede or hinted at seceding. And this
technically woman, you can't do it, but go ahead. Go ahead. You can say whatever you want, but there's no legal basis for you to do that. That's fine.
Exactly. This woman dropped a 2-minute TikTok, I think 2 minutes, 15 seconds, and just eviscerated the idea of them seceding because of all the shit that they would lose, that they do not have the infrastructure to replace on the fly if they were to secede. I mean, federal stuff, cellular towers, all shit that I didn't even consider would be completely cut off. And that would be so crazy. And you'd almost be primed for an invasion from Mexico if they wanted to take over Texas again and make it part of their country.
Yeah, they'd have a much bigger military at that point.
Exactly, because we wouldn't be defending Texas. Yeah. So, yeah.
Technically not. Although, would we let Texas be subsumed by Mexico? Would we then stand up because we've been allied for so long?
Maybe, yeah. The oil and everything. I don't know. It's a fair point.
If we got the more advantageous trade scenario, we would still
weekend.
as much as they potentially would be our former brothers, we'd keep them under our boot and be like, okay, well, we're getting crude oil at this price,
Right.
and
Right.
there are no tariffs to use the ports in Houston.
Yeah, we'll come in and save you, but this is the price.
Yeah. We're gonna exact certain things.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the whole we're gonna secede and be like, oh, okay, that is utterly meaningless. And then I read a couple lawyers talking about how there is no legal justification, and in fact, this has been shot down several times in this ruling by the Supreme Court, this ruling by the Supreme Court, this law, once this happened here, basically all glimpses of that were shattered 250 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But it appeals to their base.
Right.
And
that's what they wanted.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's politics.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what's your 3 again? Sorry.
That network, the corporation.
Oh, sorry. So then my 3 is Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards, that opening monologue with where he's talking to the guy in the
trying to get the hostages, or whatever.
Oof, that monologue is gorgeous. Just from top to bottom, how he leads homie into that situation and then essentially gets him to give away everything just by saying all the stuff that he's saying and leading into all the stuff that he's saying and kind of walking him down that path and slowly disarming him step by step. And he has a mini version of it when he's talking about the cream and the dessert and all of that with Melanie Laurent in later on in the film. And it's just so good. But that opening monologue is chilling, unsettling, and it's maybe the greatest monologue to introduce someone into the public consciousness that the world didn't know. And it's such a great monologue to introduce yourself as an actor as well. So I just love that thing from top to bottom.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz went from a person I'd never heard of to, wow, this dude is great.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And thankfully he shot the Three Musketeers movie before this was released. So that was technically his follow-up project, I believe.
I forgot about that. Great.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. It was like I can't remember what I was doing, but I had it on the background because I was trying to do, some sort of project.
Yeah.
And just to have a movie on in the background. And then I didn't know Christoph Waltz was in it. And suddenly Christoph was like, he was in this piece of shit? Him and Mila Jovovich, and I can't remember who else. I'm sure if I just looked at the IMDb, I'm like, oh yeah, he played such and such. But those are the only two that jump out.
So bad.
It was a terrible movie.
Oh, isn't that the one with Orlando Bloom as well? Isn't he in that one?
It very well could be. Yeah.
James Corden's in it too, as the Musketeers' idiot friend who's always eating. Yeah. Ray Stevenson is in this. That's right. Yeah. Fucking Matthew McFadden. Wow. Luke Evans. Wow. There's a lot of people in this. I guess I totally forgot about. Mads Mikkelsen is in this. Holy shit! No wonder he said okay.
I don't even remember him.
It's like half the cast of fucking Inglourious. Till Schweiger's in this as well, the German guy from Inglourious Bastards. Wow, and Logan Lerman, who's the main guy. Lord Almighty.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a big cast. Goodness gracious.
Wow, well, when you have a story on this caliber, you gotta.
I just don't know how you go. The guy who did all the Resident Evil movies, yeah, all right, I'll take the job. Why not?
Well, you knew Mila was going to be in it.
Right, of course. That's his wife. Of course she was going to be in it.
Yeah, then after that, who knows? Maybe it was just he met such and such and they really got along and
maybe
been friends with this person over here for a very long time.
Certainly possible, man. Certainly possible. Okay, so what's your 2?
My deuce is Braveheart.
Oh yeah, great choice. Go ahead, man.
Would you trade this day?
Yeah.
Until all the this day to all the days before you die for one chance, just one chance.
Just one chance.
Still get goosebumps. I still love that scene. I still love Mel. For the life of me, rather, I can't tell you what he closes it with. Don't know. I do not know. I have watched that scene. I don't know how many times.
What?
So many times.
Yeah,
I
they'll
have no
never
idea.
take our freedom. That's what they.
Yeah, they didn't take our freedom. But after that, he says
Oh, he does?
2 more distinct lines
What?
as he's like just in full rage type of
Oh,
mode.
okay.
And
Maybe
then
it's in Scottish.
maybe it is. That's the only thing I've ever concluded of. That's got to be, maybe it's a Scottish phrase, like a war cry type of thing.
Paul Cree is with us. Paul, you're a UK guy. What does he say at the end there? What are those last 2 lines?
Yeah, any clue?
That
Any
Gibson
clue? Is
says?
that
I
a
didn't
famous
know
William Wallace phrase that I don't know?
William Wallace catchphrase.
Yeah, maybe there's one ascribed to him that oh yes, he's been known in these parts for having coined this specific phrase.
Oh man. Okay.
I have no idea what it is. It's like a guttural.
Does he run across the thing? I don't know. Nope.
After he says right at the end, freedom, and then he's charging. I want to say, as we're looking at the screen to the left, screen left,
Oh yeah.
and it just
Yes, he does run across and say something.
no idea what it is.
Yeah. It's probably just him yelling.
But the thing is, there's a change in inflection where it seems like they're words.
Yeah. No, I hear you. All right. There you go. Never take. There you go. Good stuff. All right. So that's your number 2.
That is my deuce.
So my 2 is the pun from earlier, the Indianapolis scene. Oh, love that monologue, man. What a construction from top to bottom, and a great performance from Robert Shaw. Authentic. He starts out, like he's the kingfish amongst the 3 of them. Stops Dreyfus from being an idiot with that hand on his forearm, and then goes into the thing, and immediately, the smile leaves Dreyfus's face because he knows the Indianapolis. And then Scheider's just watching, and he's just kind of slowly walking him through this thing and talking about, the secret mission. Nobody knew about it then. What the feeling was like when they got in the water, seeing the sharks for the first time, and rolling up on his friend who's just bobbing up and down. And then at the end, he's, waiting for the plane. What was my turn on the front line was the longest wait in my entire life. And he says, I'll never wear a life jacket again. There's just so much in that last line. I'll never wear a life jacket again, because God knows what horrors. And it kind of, you can make it symbolic because it can connect to PTSD from any war, right? It doesn't have to be this situation with sharks. In essence, the sharks could be the Germans or the Italians or the Japanese or whoever, and vice versa. It's symbolic of that. And so what he's talking about in essence is, he's never let go of the horror of what he experienced during war. In his case, it was sharks in the water. And so he's spent his whole life trying to go after him. So there's so much in that monologue, man.
And it's also a very specific time in military technology to where you could get that amount of troops out into an area. But if you have to do a search and rescue to get them back, unless they specifically pinpointed, the spot that they were going down, and you could get somebody out there quick enough, they're going to drift for days.
Yeah.
You can send a boat out there to try and get them, but there is no satellite imagery. There aren't any reconnaissance jets.
Right.
You can only travel as fast as the fastest boat, and you're out in the middle of the Pacific, which is just a vast wasteland of undrinkable water and death below, apparently.
Oof. Yeah.
So just to be bobbing out there as, hors d'oeuvres for sharks for days on end. Oh, and then there's the discussion of after they've been in the water for that long, once they are rescued, you have to be careful of how you pull them out of the water and whatnot, because they're so waterlogged, you can tear their skin straight off.
Good point. Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's another horror on top of all the rest of it.
Yeah. Right.
It's just to have lived through that, a genuine hell on earth.
Yeah.
It's brutal. That whole scene is just, it evokes so many different emotions.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking, man. All right. So what's your number 1?
My number 1 is, dude, coffees for closers.
Oh, the Alec Baldwin one is
It's
another one?
so good. Are you kidding me?
Wow, that's
That thing was
dude.
created for the movie.
I got no issue with that. Yeah,
The
great stuff.
balls of saying, hey, you know that play that everybody loves and is
That
winning
David
every
Mamet
award
play. Yeah.
that everybody agrees is perfect. We're actually going to add a scene to that
Yeah.
with an actor you may or may not know at this point. He's kind of young, handsome as all hell.
Yeah.
And he comes in and just he makes the movie. That scene makes the movie for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I love the movie as a whole, but if you take that scene out, I don't know, it has the punch.
That's why it was so genius to add that monologue, because that monologue kind of lays the groundwork at a critical time in the movie, right? When they're all like wondering what the fuck is going on, and here comes Alec Baldwin to drop the hammer.
Yeah, the biggest swinging dick.
Right, exactly. To say to them, this is what's on the line. Like if Spacey Williamson he's too mealy mouthed to get it across to you guys. I'm going to slickly get across to you guys exactly salesman to salesman. I'm going to tell you what the fuck is really happening. And then drops all the shit that he drops and goes after each of them personally.
Yeah. What's my name? Fuck you is my name.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, oh, yeah. You see this watch? This watch costs more than your car. I love that. And the Ed Harrison's like, if you're so great, what are you doing here? And just it was personal favor. They asked me to come down here, and I told them, go ahead and fire him. They're dead.
Yeah.
Try to think. I'm here to save you. Oh, it's just over and over and over again.
And what's brilliant about the scene is that they don't have Ricky Roma in the scene, because Ricky is essentially that version of that character for that crew. So Ricky doesn't need to be in that scene, because Ricky has been doing better than all of them. So everybody who is in that scene is supposed to be there to get berated by him, from Jack Lemmon all the way down to Ed Harris to Alan Arkin, everybody in there. It's great. You know what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass balls.
Yeah, he actually pulls out brass balls.
Brass balls.
Which should kill the scene. You're like,
no,
why do you?
It should. Yes.
It should. It is a stupid prop, and yet really works. The look on Jack Lemmon's face as Baldwin is standing up, lording over him, and just the seething rage that is boiling, but he's holding it back. Just this look, wild, wild-eyed. Something you rarely see from Jack Lemmon. I don't know, man. You take that scene out, that movie is good to me, but with that scene, it crushes.
Not many movies emasculate Ed Harris. And the fact that there's a moment where he's actually emasculated by Alec Baldwin in that back and forth is saying something, He leaves the watch on his desk, too, until he picks it back up again to leave. It's so great. Second prize set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired. ABC, always be closing. Always be closing. Get mad, you sons of bitches.
These are the Glengarry leads, but you don't get them. Just stupid. And then he hands him over his shoulder to Spacey, and Spacey's like, you don't get them.
To give them to you would be like giving them away.
Yeah. I could go out and make $15,000 tonight, 2 hours, pal. What can you do?
Can you? You, Levine, you call yourself a closer, you son of a bitch. It's so great.
It shouldn't work.
No.
And yet it really does.
Fuck, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does go higher, man. It's been a while since I've seen it. And look, I directed the play in college, and I wanted to put the scene in there. But, the play...
Yeah, the play doesn't...
It's not the film. It doesn't work. But I had the scene in there. I had the monologue in there for the first 3 weeks of production. I had the actor work on it. And then in the end, I sat down with him. I was like, it doesn't fit. And he was like, I agree with you. It doesn't fit. And it was great. So it was great. We could kill it. But it's so perfect for the movie. You're right, Matt. It's perfect for the movie, man.
Yeah, I mean, theater's just a different animal.
Yeah. And the way they set things up in both the acts on a stage, it doesn't make sense to do the monologue. And I know there are productions who've done the monologue, included the monologue, but it didn't make sense for the one I was doing. So, but I love that monologue, for fuck's sake. It's so good. Okay. Well, there you go. That's wait, what's my number one? My number
your number one?
Is Tears in the Rain, the Rutger Hauer monologue in Blade Runner.
I assumed you were going to have that.
Oh yeah, I can't not have that. And as I was pulling the list, I was it kept moving up higher and higher. Because I mean, there's so much. I love that movie, and I love that monologue because it's talking about the perils of existence and what it means, life, all of it. It's all there, and what he witnessed, what he saw, and this idea of whatever we experience as human beings or replicants, those memories die with us, and it's almost like all this gold that we're taking with us that no one else will fully understand, and it's a shame. And it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful treatise on life, and it's one that I can watch at different times and just get really affected by it, moved by it. And Rutger Hauer's incredible performance of holding that dove until he dies and lets it go. And there's just so much in it, man. And Harrison's reaction, just kind of watching him all crumpled on the corner there. It's great, So I don't know what more I can add to it. We've talked about that monologue before. So
yeah, it's while I don't hold Blade Runner as the greatest sci-fi film of all time. I know that's an opinion you hold and others hold.
Yeah.
That speech is just stellar, and the fact that Tears in the Rain, I think that was a Rutger Hauer improv.
Yeah.
That he just came up with on his own. It's like, wow, that really makes the movie.
Well, the descriptions in the monologue are incredible. Ships on fire off the shores of Orion, and talking about Tanner's Gate, I think he says all of that is just like your mind visualizes as much as it can exactly what he's talking about, which makes the monologue even more epic and expansive. It's just fantastic stuff, man. Brilliant things. Okay, well, there you go. That's our separate top 10 monologues from films, and we're going to put this list together. I rearranged my whole office, so I got to go get the bongos. I'll be right back. Sorry about that.
All right. And then, Sam, we will be getting to your list shortly. So Jaws Quint speech might be number one, since that's... So I'm going to go ahead and put that as number one. And then...
All right.
I'm thinking maybe Glengarry 2, then Pulp 3.
What do we put at 1?
Jaws, the Quint speech, just because we have
higher.
Yeah, it's 4 for me and 2 for you?
Yeah, 2 for me. Yeah.
So that seems a natural. Glengarry is 1-7?
I'm cool with that at number 2.
Okay, then the next common we have is Pulp. It's 7-9 or something.
Okay, that's a little bit lower, so we should go to higher numbers, right?
Other than that, do we don't have any other commonality, do we?
No, I don't think we do. Which is good. So what's your number 2? I guess, is it on there already?
Brave. Well, we don't have Blade Runner, so Blade Runner.
Yeah, that's my number 1. Yeah.
Rain. Braveheart is my number 2.
Okay.
Do we already have your 2?
And yeah, it's Jaws.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Your 3.
Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards.
All right, that would be up against the corporation speech from Network.
Ooh.
I'll go ahead and flip the coin.
Where are we at right now? What number are we on?
This would be for number 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, quality wins out. So that is Network.
I'll tell Tarantino you said so.
Go ahead. Be like, listen, it lost to the corporation speech from Ned Beatty. And be like, you know what? Be justified.
I almost put the Reservoir Dogs one in there.
Had a few. I was like, all right, how many Tarantinos do I want to... All right, why don't we do Pulp next?
Okay. That's 7?
That is number 7.
Okay. I got the Goodfellas intro at 4.
All right. Got 2 spots left. I have my number 5.
So do I. Oh, here we go.
What's your 5 again?
It was Sylvester Stallone from Rocky Balboa, man. Rocky.
You're telling me that's better than JCVD? I mean,
yes. One's a better actor.
You're lying to yourself. I know. Jean-Claude should be doing more.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's people won't give him opportunities.
Well, we're about to find out. We'll let the fates decide. Here we go. Oh, the fates agree. JCVD.
Oh, ridiculous. Ridiculous.
And is that Rocky Balboa or Balboa?
No, Rocky Balboa, yeah.
Okay. What would you call that monologue?
Oh.
In the palm of my hand?
No. That's not the monologue. Name. Hold on. Monologue. What do they have? Speech to his son is what they're calling it here. You're no one is going to hit any harder than life.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it. The top 10 monologues from movies. Yeah. At number 10.
Rocky Balboa's speech to his son.
At number 9.
JCVD's life dissection.
At number 8.
Goodfellas, the intro.
At number 7.
Pulp Fiction, watch.
At number 6.
Inglourious Bastards, Hans Landa's introduction.
At number 5.
Network, the corporation speech from Ned Beatty.
At number 4.
Braveheart, freedom.
At number 3.
Blade Runner, Tears in the Rain.
At number 2.
Glengarry Glen Ross, coffee is for closers.
And our number 1 monologue from a movie is
Jaws, with Quint's speech to his fellow shipmates.
The doll's eyes.
There it is.
All right. What do we got here for San Fernando?
Sam Fernando
what you got?
says, hey guys, here's my list. Wasn't sure if you needed a small blurb for each monologue, but I did one just in case.
Okay.
Thanks for picking my topic, and I look forward to hearing your list. Millions to choose from, but I basically made my list based on monologues I go back and watch because they're just that good. So there are some great monologues from movies I just never revisit. At number 10, he's got The American President.
What? Okay.
Lewis confronts President Shepard.
Okay.
He said, I'm probably the only person who would pick this, but Michael J. Fox is perfect in this scene, and Sorkin's script is so good and relevant that if you go and rewatch it, the argument Fox makes is so fitting for the world of politics today.
I'm starting to sense he's got a very strong Michael J. Fox
attachment.
Yeah.
I agree. At 9, he's got The Godfather, I Believe in America.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
It's a good one.
My list. That's a good one.
I put, there isn't a better way to start The Godfather than a monologue that is essentially the thesis for Michael's story. So well delivered and perfectly foreshadows Michael's struggle.
Yeah.
At 8, he's got Dead Poet Society. What will your verse be, rather? He said, I go back to this movie all the time, and the main reason is for Keating's inspirational speeches. There are so many to pick from, but this is my favorite from this movie. 7, A Few Good Men, You Can't Handle the Truth. I won't read his blurb because we are in agreement. At 6, he's got Saving Private Ryan. Captain Miller wants to go home to his wife.
Yeah, that's right.
He says, Rocha is going to be disappointed, but this scene is what makes this movie special.
Which scene? The one with his wife, talking to his wife? You mean the one about being a mathematician, or the one later when they're about to go to the final battle when they're in the quiet? Is that where it's at?
I'm assuming he's. Now there is the final battle, or it could be as he's dying. Earn this, but he doesn't talk about that.
No,
so
I think it's when he's out there with Damon as they're listening to Edith Piaf.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He starts to tell him about being from back home and his wife and everything. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's a good choice. I'm not going to go crazy about that. So,
okay. 5, he's got Do the Right Thing. Radio Raheem's Love and Hate.
I can't tell you how hard it was to take that one off my list. I really was mad. I had to remove it. It's a great choice.
He said, Radio Raheem telling the camera the story of love and hate just makes his tragic ending all the more heartbreaking.
I agree.
4, he's got Jaws, Quint's USS Indianapolis.
Yes.
3, Shawshank Red's final parole hearing.
Yeah, exactly.
The setup of the previous parole hearing just makes this last time resonate all the more. It's Morgan Freeman's best acting for me, and nothing even comes close to To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus's closing argument.
I stay away from the court stuff because in my mind, I'm like, the court stuff's easy. You know what I'm saying? So
sure.
To me, I just stayed away from it. But it's a good one to add.
He says, it's my favorite book, and somehow the movie does it justice. Gregory Peck will be forever Atticus Inch to me, and this speech is exactly why he is so beloved.
Yeah.
And then at number 1 is Good Will Hunting, Sean's bench speech.
Yeah, there you go.
And then he's got honorable mentions for days.
Oh, really?
Wolf of Wall Street, Belfort inspires degenerates.
Oh, yeah, that's
Miracle, Herb Brooks' speech.
oh, yeah, the one that Kurt Russell has. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Pulp Fiction, the Ezekiel.
Yes.
Caddyshack, Dalai Lama. Fences, I Had Dreams.
Oh, that's such a good speech. Yeah,
He's got your Rocky Balboa.
that's right.
Dark Knight, Why So Serious? When Harry Met Sally, Harry Loves Sally. Independence Day.
Oh, yeah,
The World's Independence Day.
Right.
That's
And the ending of When Harry Met Sally. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
The Greatest Dictator. And then
Oh, yeah.
The Breakfast Club, Andrew Carr's Confession. So we got some solid honorable mentions in there.
Good choices there, man. Absolutely. Nice shot. Nice choices. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sam, and thanks to everybody who's right after Ribisi dies. That's what Sam's clarifying. Oh, yeah. So that's the one where he's like, what's the pool up on me now about what I do for a living? And that's when he delivers that monologue about being a teacher.
Yeah, he's a teacher. And everybody stops what they're doing.
Yeah. Good call, Sam. Those are some great choices, brother, man. And thanks to everybody who listened to us or watched us today. We always appreciate it here, doing our top 10 movie monologues on the Top 10 show. Matt, what do we have to tell them as we wrap up?
You can follow the show on Twitter at Top 10 Show. We'd love to have you. And on Instagram and YouTube, it is /the Top 10 Podcast with the number 10. So please hit us up. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Knost. If you'd like to check out another movie-related show, I do Settle the Score. And Dropping Dimes is on hiatus. So that is it for me this week.
Yeah, before he fades out, you can follow me at The Rocha Says.
Don't know why my camera's doing this today.
You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Twitch is The Outlaw Nation. And over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, and also my other two podcasts, The Cinephiles and The Geek Buddies. All right, that's it from us. Y'all take care of yourselves. Don't forget Topic Thunder this week, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Top 10 Show. Take care. Peace.